Hello, everybody. Super good morning to everyone, whoever who woke up this particular morning, right? So yesterday I was saying that it was quite a clashy little day for yesterday. So what happened yesterday in Malaysia? We got the Bruno Mars concert, so which is pretty nice according to those people who went there. Right, so then there was a really huge tropical storm that is happening, right? So a lot of tree fell like normal, right? So a lot of car, I think also got flattened. Then there was a lot of videos of seaside restaurant get renovated by nature. Don't know whether those are Sabah's or Penang side of it, right? So didn't read the thing, right? So as a lot of you know, that yesterday I went for a bit of a excursion, right? So to look at some temples. So today I'll be doing the write up and posting it in the newsletter if you guys want to read that, right? So and also a certain individual went for shopping, right? So went for shopping, and it was a pretty clashing for the wallet. So today we're going to talk about Heavenly Stem Clash, right? So this is part of the essential content that we are trying to build out for the Chinese Metaphysics channel that I'm running right now. So I can see the MS woke up, Ingkok is there, Crimson Phoenix is around, Cindy Low is around, right? So good morning to everybody, right? So how do you like the new look? They say Oppa look. Don't know whether Oppa look or Grandpa look, right? So that's what we're going to be doing today, right? So it's going to be Heavenly Stem today. Yes, heavy rain yesterday, right? So in Singapore, yeah, Singapore also I saw a few video of crosswind, car flying around, right? So there was a lot of storm video that was happening yesterday itself. Right, so now great day, right? So now let's start off today, right? So a lot of people still in holiday mode. So Malaysia right now is in the school holiday mode. Right, so a lot of people went out and holiday. Hopefully they didn't choose the seaside. Hello, Shu. Good morning. Right, come let's get into looking at Heavenly Stem clashes. Let me just shrink myself down to the smaller version first. Smaller version shrinking. This is it, right? Smaller version shrinking. You can see yourself chat here. Right. These are just for fun now. It's not for people to read actually. Just for people to looking that the chat is moving, right? So like usual, right? So good to reinvent image once in a while. Yeah, right. So my image consultant say, this one look very nice, right? So it was a great achievement for her to convince me to spend money and buy something. That's a super great achievement for her to do that. She was like so happy, and then she herself go and buy something even more expensive. Alright. Right, so now come, there's two channels here that you can basically join. Forgot to change this particular thing. So you know that this slide was done way before the rest of the slide was done. Right, so this is the old one, but anyway, it's the same, right? So you want to get in touch with me, right? So there is a Telegram channel that I run, right? So the Telegram channel basically is just to update you all on what is happening. There's gonna be things to download. Anything that was presented for downloading purpose, I will throw inside the Telegram channel for you guys to download, right? So that's what Telegram is, right? So you can chit chat with me, you can PM me, whatever it is that is in the Telegram channel. Feel free to do so. And there is the newsletter. The newsletter is basically just the email subscription service, right? So you subscribe to it, then you receive email every now and then on contents. It is focused on content that has to do with forecasting. So most forecasting content I will throw inside this particular place first. And of course, yesterday I went for an excursion, right? The information on the excursion site, what to see, what it is to see, is going to be published in one of these newsletters. So if you want to get that information, go and subscribe to the newsletter. Right, so now then we can move on into this particular topic itself, which is the clash. So for those of you who has not printed your BaZi chart yet, right? So or you guys are looking for one of the BaZi chart plotter to use. There are many BaZi chart plotter in the market. You feel free to use any of the BaZi plotter, right? So the Typing Astro is just one of the BaZi plotter that I'm currently helping with in revamping the way that it is being presented, right? So you can also use this particular website. So I am personally using this website right now. So for this particular session, so we are talking about Heaven Stem. So Heaven Stem is this fella on the top. You can also see the Heaven Stem and the fella at the bottom, right? So they are actually the same thing, right? So there's 10 of them which has been grouped into 5 separate elements. So each of the element got a yin version and a yang version, right? So they interact with each other, forming what we call the BaZi system. The entire BaZi system is just an interaction between these 5 elements, or you want to call 10. Right, so 5 elements of yin and yang, there's 10 of them. So the 10 of them are interacting together inside here. So you can imagine the BaZi chart like a football field. So football field with 10 players inside, you know, they stand at different places, you know, they got different things, right? So their interaction is what gives interest to the BaZi reading. So we will be basically reading this, right? So for this series, we have given the explanation on each and every one of the stems, right? So all the 10 stems are given you a brief what we call description on it. Then we have spoken about the nature of the stem, that they can combine with each other. We have spoken about that, right? So then there's also one episode that talk about the nature of the stem, where they produce and weaken each other. So today we are going to be in the juncture of talking about clash and control, right? So, and also at the same time, you will start to understand what is the true nature of a combine. Right, the other day we spoke about, you know, the nature of it combining, right? So, but there is an actual what we call reason behind the dark truth behind a combine, right? So, you know, we were talking about that as well. So, which is all today, right? So today we are talking about the clash of the stem, not clash of the titan, right? So that's what we're going to be learning today, right? So let's get on to this particular thing, right? So like I just told you, you know, we have spoken about each of the elements. 5 of them, you know, water, wood, fire, earth, and also metal. So each of them would basically be split into the yin and yang version. So it makes 10 separate stems. Then we talk about the 7 stem combination, right? So this the combination, we have spoken a little bit about the combination nature. We have also spoken about the produce and also weaken cycle. Right, so then today we're gonna take a look at the counter and control cycle. So usually we call this clash, right? So like just like the production cycle, right? Yang clash yang, yin clash yin. When yin and yang meet with each other, they actually combine, they don't clash, right? So that this is where we are trying to just to understand the system a little bit. So again, these are part of the things that you have to go and remember. If you want to practice this stuff, you have to go and remember, because you'll be using it constantly. Also, because you are using it constantly, that it will probably be easier to remember, right? So you'll be using this, what we call the weakened production cycle, counter control cycle in all Chinese metaphysics practices. It doesn't matter whether you are practicing it for Qigong, whether you are practicing it for medicine. But medicine also is the same, you know, they find that your body is too, Chinese say too heaty, right? Too heaty is basically your fire element a bit too strong, so they would need to reduce the fire element using the what we call countering or the weakening cycles element to weaken the fire, right? So they will recommend herbs that has to do correspond with that particular element to introduce into your body to reduce the effect of the heat. That's what Chinese medicine does anyway. Right, so you know, then of course, you know, if you are in Qi, right, so Qi apply a lot of this interaction. Like for in Feng Shui also is the same. Like Feng Shui, you got 5 yellow, right? So 5 yellow is an earth element. So that's why when we try to reduce the effect of the 5 yellow, you know, so because suppression of the 5 yellow, we use metal. Metal element is what is being used, because we know that the earth will produce metal. So by locating metal into the particular area, the earth energy, when it is excited, it will be dispersed by the metal energy at the same place, right? So it's like, you know, it takes away some of the elements. So it's like a airbag, right? So it's like the airbag, you know, when your car crash, right? So it deploy. So the metal is basically like an airbag there, you know, just in case the 5 yellow deploy, right? So the metal is basically there to dampen the entire effect of the 5 yellow, right? So that's what we do in Feng Shui anyway, right? So that's why you have to understand all this terminology or concept that we do. So of course, you know, this is in BaZi today, right? So in BaZi today, we want to introduce the overall conceptualization of the clashing, right? So, you know, if you can take a look at this particular chart, then you can see that the fire clash metal, metal clash wood, wood clash earth, earth clash water, water clash fire, right? So you have to go and remember this, by the way, and the clashing don't change, right? So it doesn't change, right? So it's a one-time effort of actually remembering the clashing cycle. Then after that, you know, you can split it into 2 separate cycles. the yang cycle versus the yang cycle, the yin cycle versus the yin cycle. So yang clash yang, yin clash yin. So it's pretty simple, and after some time of practicing, it become very, very easy, right? So hello Sabrina, hello Peppo, how are you doing? Hello Jeannie, hello Eve, right? Hello Manuel, right? So good morning to all of you, right? Happy holiday for those of you who are having holiday. Hopefully you are not near any of the seaside. So I've seen a lot of seaside video of restaurant getting totally re-renovated by the what we call a sea god. Right, so yeah, now so we are going to do some clashing cycle, right? So let's take a look some of the cycle, right? So I will conceptually bring you through, right? So it's going to be something like graphical, right? So so this is the yang stem heavenly clash, yang stem heavenly clash. So if you take a look at it, the geng will clash with the jia, right? So geng is metal, jia is wood, right? So geng clash with jia, so the wu will clash with ren, right? So now just the one thing, clash got direction one. Clash got direction, right? So this one is geng clash with jia, not jia clash with geng, please. Okay, clash have direction, right? So clash is all directional, right? So which means that there's one party which is the initiator or the aggressor, the other party which is the guy that is suffering, right? So when it's about clash, it's basically this particular things, right? So then the other way around, we usually call it a control cycle, right? So the clash and also control cycle belong to the same cycle, right? When one party is clashing, the other party is basically under control. The stronger one will be the one clashing. The direction of the clash is gonna always be the elemental direction. So metal will always clash wood. Okay, metal will always clash wood, right? So the earth will always clash with water, so the earth will be clashing with the ren water. So the ping fire will now clash the geng metal. Right, so there's fire clashing with metal, then jia wood will clash with the wu earth, right? So this is wood clashing with earth, then the ren water will clash with ping fire. So of course all these clashes, right, they are not equal in terms of intensity and in terms of effect. So again, situational wise, you need to know what situation is, then only you know which clash is actually more painful. There are some situations whereby one clash is more painful than the other. Right, there are some situations, whereby the other clash is more painful than the other, right? So I was just looking at, one of these video, it was very, very funny, right? So it was two gym bro, so gym guy, very big one, they was attempting this particular fighting, and then the coach came in, right? So coach came in, hurt him in the most painful place, right? So that's a clash, right? So clash, so those two quite bulk fighter, then one came over and then said what, she had never loved you before. Wow, no. So it's like that is the place that is most hurting for him, not actually the punches. Right, so of course it's just a comedy video, but anyway, right? So this basically highlight that some clashes are different to different people. Also depend on the construct of your chart. Different clashes also have different impact. So that is where the interesting, or you want to call the challenging part of reading a BaZi chart is there, right? So again, there's no worst clashes. There are no worst clashes here, right? There are no worst clashes. It have to depend on circumstance, right? Have to depend on circumstance, right? So depend on what sort of situation you are in, right? So it really depends on how is the reading going, right? So like a lot of sessions I talk about the Shimon asking quality question, right? It's actually about that, because without a quality question, very difficult for you to know the quality of the information that you're reading, whether it's good or bad. Okay, cool, right? So now let's take a look at the different clashes, and have a conceptual what we call principle understanding of what basically is happening, right? So principally what's understanding, like for example, geng and jia is very easy to understand. This is like an X cutting a tree. Right, so now X cutting a tree, then this one, the pain is direct, it's direct physical pain. So now this one is usually used to describe an actual accident. When a car hit the car, right? When a car hit the car, an actual accident is this sort of clash. So you said that this sort of clash is painful. Yeah, it's painful for the people who's in the clash. Right, so but you need to know that this clash is very physical, which means that you usually can see This sort of clashes, you usually can see it very clearly, right? Like example, you're driving the car very fast, right? So the car in front brake, right? You can see the accident happening. You can actually see it happening. This is basically the Geng and Jia clash, right? So this one in the olden day when you have Geng and Jia clash, it indicate war, right? So now Qimen is based on this, by the way, right? The Qimen, the entire Qimen game is the Jia is hiding from the Geng. So the Geng is the bad guy. The Geng is the bad guy, right? So there's actually no bad guy, right? So the Jia is basically the emperor. Right, so the emperor is hiding and the Geng is playing hide and seek with the emperor. So when the Geng meet the emperor, when the Geng is able to catch the emperor, it's basically checkmate. So the entire Qimen Dun Jia system is based on running away from Geng. What is the strategy that you can deploy to run away from Geng? So that's why in a Qimen Dun Jia plate, you cannot find the Jia. The Jia is not labeled in a Qimen Dun Jia plate. So the Jia is always hiding together with what we call the sixth crescent. And so this is the tactic that it is. Right? So because why the Jia want to prevent the Geng from hitting on them. So for Jia Day Master Clash, right, for Geng Day Master Clash out, yes, Geng Day Master basically clash out, Jia Day Master basically is called clashing it. So you want to just use terminology. So which means that for both the Day Master, so if you take a look at this particular setup itself, you already know the nature of the Day Master itself. Geng Day Master is more troublemaker. So Geng Day Master is more courageous. No, that's the guy who want to go out and look for trouble. Whereas Jia is more reserved, right? So it has a better patience, right? So that's the reaction side. Okay, right. So that's basically Geng and Jia. Geng and Jia, you just imagine a tree and an axe, trying to ditch each other out, right? So who wins in this? Depending whether the axe is sharp enough, depending whether enough sufficient time was given to this thing, and also depending on the growth of the Jia wood. If like for example the storm, right? So the storm basically came a lot of the tree broke down, but there are also tree that did not broke down. Why some tree broke down, why some tree did not broke down? Depend on the construct of the tree itself. So we say that whether the root is deep enough. So like this sort of thing, right? So if you translate the human, right, when the clash happened, right, how was your overall growth? Were you somebody who is resilient in your growth? Right, so then you can check the BaZi chart whether resiliency is something is inside the chart or not. Right, so those are things that you study the chart, trying to understand the chart, so that when a clash happens, you know roughly how does the particular chart will react to the clash, as in whether this clash is good or bad. Right, so it's so good or bad whether the impact is high or low. Right, so if you take a look at it, this particular chart, hasn't handled a clash before. It was pretty much a very smooth sailing, what we call life for this particular person. Then suddenly a strong impact clash come in. Right, so the fella don't have the training to handle this. So it's like a country that is relatively peaceful. So they don't have an army ready. So suddenly there was an external force coming in to attack the town. So the town couldn't defend themselves. So that is, how you take a look at the particular situation. If the town were to, most of the time got trained their soldier or whatever it is, so they were ready for an external attack. So the attacker wouldn't have such a sweet time attacking them. So same thing, if the tree has grown tough, because of it. Yeah, in a university, they actually did a study, right? So they have, they study tree being planted inside a dome. Tree being planted indoors. So the tree can grow tall, but it was very fragile. Because why? The dome got no wind. Right? So they have to introduce wind into the dome to help the tree grow tall. So when the tree was small that time, the wind causes the tree to, like this. And then only the tree knows that, I need to fortify here, fortify here, fortify. So grow. It grow that time, it grow in a different fortification manner. So then only it have the toughness. Is it possible to have a natural clash in the pillar like Day Master, Geng, and either? But yeah, of course, so any sort of it. Is it bad? It's not bad. Bad or again, bad or what we call the bad or good, depend on circumstance. The clash just basically tells you it happens. That's it. Right. So like for example, accident happened on the road. Is it good or bad? Depend on who's looking at it, lah. Right, so depend on who's looking at it. The fellow who sell 4D ticket is good to them. the fella who operate the tow truck, right? So the tow truck operator is good for them, and an accident is good for them, no matter how bad you think the tow truck operator, right? For Malaysia, you just observe, during peak hour, tow truck will start lining up, under one of the bridge. They will be there waiting for accident to happen. So what you call them vultures, right? But here's the thing, right? They did not cause the accident. You're the one who bang into each other, and then you call these people, it's like opportunistic. So how? Good or bad? I don't know. Depends on the situation. There are no good or bad answer in any Chinese metaphysics at all. Right? So, those people who tell you good or bad one is basically either not very experienced in practicing, or, it's just trying to make you happy. Trying to get rid of you. I will also tell you good or bad when I'm trying to get rid of you. But anyway, right, so let's take a look at it. So Wu and Ren is basically like a big boulder, mountain, bank shore, redirecting, trying to what we call stop the flow of the water, right? So this is a very controlled, directed type of energy. Now can you see that this particular clash, right, it is not as direct as the Geng and Jia clash. Geng and Jia clash is very direct, right? Both are very solid fella. So this one is basically one solid fella with one soft fella trying to do, right? So now what happened? One thing you start to know that rainwater will always find ways to bypass the earth. So the earth will try to come and stop the particular thing. So clash is basically coming to stop the thing, right? So this is like government putting in laws. Right, so the government putting in law saying that this is what we call illegal doing this, right? So initially when the thing come down that time, it will probably be able to stop some, but eventually you see that human will find a loophole to bypass the situation. They will find what we call loop around. Loop around, right? So this one, if you go into a clash, is that particular clash law. So when the clash happen, that time all the traffic becomes standstill. But then when you give it some time, car will find way to bypass the accident zone, right? So they will find bypass the accident zone, right? So it's maybe traffic jam, right? So because right in the holiday season, traffic jam, right? So then people will find way to drive away from this particular traffic jam zone to go around. So this is the situation of this particular thing. So you're asking whether this is painful or not painful. Don't know lah, right? So don't know whether you want to call it painful or not, but definitely this is more subtle. This is more subtle than the Geng and also Jia clash. So if you look at it, if your chart already know that you got rainwater, like for me, right? So it's a rainwater. So I know earth basically is the clash element to me, right? So I understand that the clash, what we call nature of this is eventually will find bypass. Then I need to understand when there is any circumstance or roadblock that basically come, it's like the imagination need to be is a temporary roadblock right now that I need to basically take a look at, and just have to find way around it lah. So this one is, if you take a look at it overall, it is basically just classified under inconvenient. To the rainwater is called inconvenient, right? So for the earth is basically called complete disobedience. Right, so you just imagine you're the government and then you put in this particular law, and people just find loophole around the law. So how? Right, is this painful or not painful? No, right? I seriously don't know. It's basically your countermeasure is not really working very well. Right, so this is the and also Ren clash that is happening. So this is the boulder trying to control the water. Right, the boulder trying to control the water. Right, so if the control is done well, then you have a dam. And see now, if your control is done well, then you have a dam, right? Can you say the Cantonese is what clash in and what I don't know what clash in clash out in Cantonese. Cantonese, I've never heard people say Chong Yap Tong Chong Chot don't have Cantonese Chong Yap Chong Chot, but there's no such thing as Chong Yap Tong Chong Chot. Right, at least I've not heard any, right? So this is the earth and rainwater. Just imagine, boulder, trying to earth trying to direct, right? So in river also the earth is directing the river, and it is actually good for earth to direct the river. Actually, the river needs some discipline, right? The river needs some discipline, or else it will be flooding everywhere, right? All right, so Ping and also Keng, right? So now Ping and Keng, if we take a look at it, right? So this one, this is one of the clash when you take a look at it that it actually not really too much of a clash, but it is still a clash, right? So the Ping is like the sun, the Keng is like metal, right? So how does the sun clashes the metal? It doesn't, right? The sun actually does not really clashes the metal. So this one is called for show. This sort of clash is for show, right? So this one you can see is the military display of power that country does, right? So those military display, like China, go to the sea, and then fire a few missiles to show people, how far the missile, and then US also do their, the military display and all of this, right? This is called for show, right? So is it painful, for show type of thing? Is it painful? I don't know. Depend on how you see the situation. All right. So this one is painful from the what we call the psychological side of it. This is basically what we call threatening people. Right. This sort of clash is called threatening people. Right. So show you I have a sword. Show you I have a sword. Right. So right. So this one is what we call a non-aggressive rivalry, if you want to call it, right? So you can call that a non-aggressive rivalry between two particular parties, right? It's basically a showcase, right? So this is to showcase your strength, right? So in this particular situation, this control usually not really not very significant, right? So no one party, say that I'm here, the other party say that what you want to do, right? So two parties standing there, it's like a standoff with each other. Right, not very interesting, right? So which mean that if you have Ping inside your chart, if you got Keng inside your chart, a lot of time the particular clash that is happening, usually they don't really care about each other. They don't really care about each other. So it's going to be a situation whereby you do your thing, the fellow do their fellow things, right? So it's like I don't know whether you guys have been watching in the video as well. There's this video, two dogs on two sides of the glass door, they come down and met each other and go, whoa, 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 blah, 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 and then suddenly the glass door open. The glass door open, then the dog, to stop barking. It's like, oh no, stop barking means that, maybe one will run out and attack the other already, right? Because they've been barking at each other for some time. No, the outside dog run in and then go and have a drink, in the dog bowl, then walk back out again when the door closed, start combat again, wow, with each other. Right, that could probably be the situation of a Ping and Keng clash. Right, so normally it's that, right? So blinding, right? So yeah, you can call it blinding. Right, so I call this distraction. This sort of clash basically causes a lot of distraction. So you lose focus on the things that you are basically doing. Right, so that's the thing, right? So you can also take a look at the Jia and also Wu, right? So now this one is slow. Whether it's painful or not, I don't know. This is like slowly dying or slowly changing things. Right? This one is very, very slow type of clash, right? So Jia and Wu is slowly changing you inside. So this is like a person dying inside very slowly. Painful or not? Right? So the Keng and Jia is a swift death. Right, it's very painful, at least they are fighting outside. So this one you can say is a passive aggressive, right? So these are passive aggressive type of clashing, it's like, right? So it's like two party, that doesn't really like each other, but then they are still together, right? So and then it's causing, I don't know whether causing, I don't know whether you want to cause damage or cause a change, right? So work very difficult to change in a quick manner. Work need to be changed in a very slow manner, right? It needs slow changing, right? So in this slow changing, then this is probably good, right? So again, the image is just to help you to imagine the situation, right? So which means a Jia and Wu clash, you do not see the immediate effect, and the effect is basically something more long term, and it can at times be very shocking. Very shocking is Malaysia recently had this sinkhole, right? So the sinkhole is a very slow clash. Sinkhole is a very slow clash. The ground under the surface was slowly taken away, right, forming cavity under the surface. Then suddenly it collapses. Right? So now these clashes, when it happens, it accumulates. It accumulates, and one day the pillar may collapse and crack. No? Right? So its entire thing is actually about accumulation of the problem that is happening. So one day the pillar will crack. So one day the pillar will crack, right? It will probably causes a lot of things problematic. Suddenly people go crazy, right? Because they crumble upon the weight of the clash that's happening. Right? So a lot of people see inside, right? So like this sort of people, if you see that they got this sort of clash naturally inside their chart, right? They are okay. Usually it's not okay, man. Just tell you first. Whereas the Geng and Jia, if you see them, those people are very okay. Those people are very open with their problem. Like these people, they are not open with their problem. Right? So like this one is when you're handling them that time, you see that, hey, this one got a Jia and Wu. So there are probably certain things that is happening inside that is not being told, not being seen by you. Right? So in BaZi reading, do you consider the clash as slow or fast? I don't care. Manual again, slow, fast doesn't really matter. It matters in terms of the situation. Like for example, you see this sort of clash, right? It's like immediately no problem. Immediately, if we take a look at it, it doesn't really create much of a problem. Whereas the Geng and Jia, immediately it creates problem. But this one is a long-term problem. Now, long-term problem is that you don't know this actually problem is how long already, Right? So you need to go and handle it, okay? And the 10 handset map to the 8 diagram. There's way to map it. There's way to basically map it. So that's where your pillar hexagram come from, right? So there's Xuan Kong Da Gua way of basically doing all this mapping. But in BaZi, very, very little they would do this sort of stuff. Right? So then the last one is Ren and Ping clashes. Now Ren and Ping, you need to imagine the clash is just again, this one is just the, you can call it clash of idea. It's just clash of idea. These two clash is the most cannot see type of clash. It's like I don't like your principle, you don't like my principle. That's it. Right? It's this type of clash. So it's like the sun and the sea. The sun and the sea, I look at you, you look at me. Right. The difference between this and also the Geng and Ping clash. Geng and Ping clash is a show off. This is not a show off. This one got nothing to show off. It's like you're there, I'm there, I there, you there, you there, I there. I there, then you are there, then I'm there. That's it. Right? You do a thing, I do my thing. Right? So I don't like you, you don't like me. Right? So this one create a very eerie ambience for people. Right? So two parties that don't like each other when they enter the room. The eerie feeling that right? Is that particular feeling. Right? So they don't directly clash with each other. Right? So now if you take a look at this, then you start to see that the Ren and Ping, the Geng and Ping, they are more psychological side. Right? They are more psychological side. So they have a higher psychological impact. Whereas your Geng and also your Jia and Geng and Wu and also Geng, they are more the what we call the physical side. Right? So then you got the physical and what we call the physical and also the psychological side of things. Right? So then the Ren and also Wu, the Ren and Wu is in between. There is a psychological game that is happening, which is the bypass. Right? So it can initially be a very physical hard stop. Right? So this is like your mom looking at you, say that you dare do that. That is a Ren and also Wu. They give you a hard stop. You stop doing that. It's that type of situation. Then the child somehow will find a way to bypass it. Right? So I think being people more spiritual inclined than everybody also can be spiritual inclined. It's just that fire and water people they are more. You can say that they are more flexible. They are more flexible. They are more flexible means that it's easier to install things inside of them. Right? Easier to they are more okay with known corporal idea. And the adaptation is just faster. And it doesn't really say that they are more spiritual. Right? So if you take a look at it, Earth people actually got more patience. They actually, might adopt a spiritual viewpoint in a much longer manner. Like Ren and Ping fella, they can understand spirituality very fast. They can also fall out of spirituality very fast. They don't stay. So how? I'm gonna say, I don't know, right? So again, everything depends on the situation. You just need to conceptually understand and learn what is basically happening, right? So this is Ren and also Ping. So if we have both Ren and Ping in our own chart, how to make use of this both? I don't know how to use of it. See, like just now your question is a question without a circumstance. So your question, fall into the category of, I got a bag of flour on the table. Then there's some cooking oil there, right? So so how we're gonna make the use of this? I don't know. It can be made into a lot of things, right? So do you consider the two different day master clashing? No, day master and day master actually don't clash with each other. It's just that this particular function and this particular function in a different manner. So these two fella looking at the same situation has different viewpoint on it. So like same thing, right? So in an accident clash, in an accident, a lot of party come into play. Some party is very happy about the accident, like for example, the tow truck driver, and then the fella who is in the accident, of course, he's not happy. The fella in the accident and the tow truck driver sure is gonna have a bit of an opinion with each other one. Okay? Yeah. So is it right? Is it wrong? No, it's no right, no wrong. You just need to understand your party. Your party is like the spectacle. It gives you a viewpoint. That's it. Right? Your job is to understand the viewpoint. It's not to conclude whether this fella good, this fella bad. You're not to do that conclusion. You're there just to purely understand this particular person function in this manner. That's all. This is how this fella function. So when a circumstance and a situation is presenting itself, he will react in this particular manner. It is not right, it is not wrong. Right? Cannot say right or wrong. Right? Okay, right? So that's why the entire thing about people reading whether this is good chart, this is bad chart. There's no good chart, no bad chart. Chart you put into the right circumstance, it will all be magnificent. Chart you put into the wrong circumstance, all piece of shit. Okay, right? So Ren in mind, right? Being in luck pillar, so can I apply to this? Today's talk anyway also can apply, right? So again, right? Just so you don't have a circumstance, right? You only got bits and pieces of things, right? So it's like today today I got a bag of cheese, and then and also I got some flour. Can I do cooking today? Can. Right? Can. I don't care whether right? I don't care whether they are 2-day master, 1-day master. You're talking about yourself, whatever. This again, the entire game is just for you to understand how does this particular party chart work, right? That's one component. This is how they work, and then this is the circumstance, and to put this together, then only got answer. Okay, all right. So only knowing how it works without the circumstance, no use. You have the circumstance, don't know how it works, no use. Put them together, then only got use, right? So learn day master clashing a Bing year pillar. Personality always struggle with friends. You also don't read it like that. You also don't read it like that. Right? So you don't read it like that, right? So now when we got chance, when we go for the 10-day master, then we read, right? So for this particular session, you just understand that the Ren and Ping got a clash, and the feeling is the eerie feeling of, two parties don't like each other. Right, so these are for the sin metal, right? So this is particularly for the sin metal itself, right? So this is the clash of the sin metal, right? So same polarity clash with same polarity, right? So different polarity usually doesn't really clash. Later I'll explain to you the different polarity. Okay. So the sin metal and E wood. Now this one directly is basically cutting of tree, trimming. Right, trimming of tree itself, right? So now you can see the difference between right now the geng and also jia, which is also a metal clashing a wood. This one is faster than the other fellow, right? But the geng and jia can cause death very quickly, but this one usually is just trimming. It depends on wood. Right? It depends. But this one is more swift and is actually more scary to the yi wood. Right? So Jia does not really fear Geng metal because Jia is strong. Jia is strong, it doesn't really fear the Geng metal coming in. Right? So no Jia, so which means that Jia can, let's have a fight, like that. Jia can do that. But yi wood cannot afford. Right? Yi wood and sin metal, yi wood cannot afford that because when the scissors come and cut, right, it's straight away cut, right? And sin metal and yi wood is usually the description is the root is being destroyed. The usual description is the wood being destroyed. So this one is internally, so again, internally being hurt. And so it's basically there. Right? So this means that sin metal day master person bully you. You also don't call bully. Right? So you take a look at the tree. You take a look at the tree, right? Especially those that is on the side of the street, those hedges. If you don't cut the hedges, right, it will not look nice, right? It will just grow all over the places. And it would have the tendency of growing all over the places. And sin metal is what going there to refine it wood. So a sin metal with a yi wood usually look very presentable, very elegant, super pretty. Is that bad? Is it called bullying? I don't know. I don't know. Right? You go and define it yourself. Right? So that's why it depends on the circumstance. Right? So if you put it in a situation whereby it is a hedge and you are just trying to make the hedge look nice, it's a good clash. Right? It's basically help remove things that is not necessary. Right? It help organize the entire situation. Right? Yeah. Right. So it sounds good, right? But in other situations, it may not be good. Like for example, this is called poisoning of roots. Right? Also doesn't mean so again, right? You don't need to avoid sin metal day master. Sin metal day master, it just means it's another person who has a different viewpoint. Why do you need to avoid this particular person? The fellow is entitled to his viewpoint. Right? The fellow is entitled to the way that that fellow do things, right? So you really don't want to read it using this particular very low class, right? So the earth and kui water is like sand absorbing water. So this is like sand. So you rain, right? So you what we call you shower the land with the water, right? So you can see that the sand. They just straight away absorb the water. Cool, right? So it's basically this law, right? So the kui water cannot function in front of the chi earth, right? Your boss is wood and I am sin, can't really work along. Also not a good interpretation teaching. You need to understand how your boss work and how you work, right? So how your boss work and how you work, right? So this is basically just earth. What we call absorbing water, right? So this is basically earth absorbing water. So now what happened here, right? So like this particular situation, right? So the description, if you have somebody who is generally very, I call it like to cry one, you throw it to a chi earth person. This fellow, you kick it to a chi earth person, right? So the chi earth person will be able to put this particular crying fellow in control. Yeah, right, yeah, right. So you got people who is generally a very I don't know whether you want to call down complainer type of fellow. You throw them to a chi earth, right? So let them absorb. Then depending on how long can you absorb, right? Like for example, if you take a look at this sort of clash, now these sort of clash are not obvious clash. Unlike the sin metal and yi wood is very obvious. It's a cutting. This is not obvious. This one is slow one. Right? This one is slowly stopping the situation. Slowly, it absorbs the water. So the water cannot go anywhere. It gets trapped, right? So now this is very different from the wu earth and ren water. Wu earth and ren water is like a direct stop and redirection of the water. The water will find way to run. Right? Like this one, it doesn't find any way to run. It's basically get amalgamated. Right? It get amalgamated, absorbed into the soil itself. Right? So it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't run. Right? Unless it's too much water. Too much water, then it become ren water. Right? When it become ren water, then chi earth collapse. Right? Quite nurturing character. Yeah lah, mother ma. We call chi earth as mom actually. Now, ting and sin is direct transformation, melting, direct transformation, melting. Right, so like this one, if you take a look at it, then how direct transformation melting, is it bad? No, certain things need to be melted, man. Certain stuff need to be melted so that it will become more valuable after it's being reshaped. Right, after it's being reshaped, it become more valuable. Right, so the thing and sin is basically this particular situation. So again, from the psychological point is that you have that aha moment change of your what we call mindset, right? Aha moment mindset change, right? So that's basically what is happening in this particular situation, right? So like this one, is it more painful than the what we call the G-earth and Kui water? I tell you, it needs to take a look at circumstances. If the circumstances govern that you require a transformation, painful also you transform it. Right, painful also basically you transform. So that's why the what we call the period 9, right, is the fire period, right? So it's a very transformative period, and because it is attacking metal, you can see that power authority change. The power authority structure, whoever hold power authority, will change in this period 9. Also mean that law and order will collapse, because this the metal represent law and order, right? So how? Right, then you need to ask, is law and order good or bad? If you have a corrupt government, fire change is good. Right, so again, it depends on circumstance. Right, you cannot say that law and order is correct. A corrupt tyranny government is also called law and order. Right, you never realize that, right? Right, a rubbish government, it is still called law and order. So in that particular case, the fire cleansing is good. So when the law and order is basically okay one, then you got fire cleansing, is called rebellion. Depend on circumstances. Right? There's no right and wrong answer. So that's why you guys need to wipe out the entire, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad, all this kind of reading, right? Rubbish reading. Just throw it into the rubbish bin. Okay? Right? So always read is, this is the situation, this is the circumstance put together. Okay? So then you got your Yi wood and also Ji earth, right? So now this one is the root growing into the earth, right? So now root growing into earth, again, this is you can say it's a fairly slow process. Painful or not? Painful for Ji earth. Right? Yeah, Ji earth being grown, painful to Ji earth, right? This is a very slow process. Right, so is it good? The Yi wood will be able to grab onto the Ji earth, or else the Ji earth will crumble. Right, that's what the use of root is, to hold the earth together. Right, it's there to basically hold the earth together. It's there to prevent the erosion of soil. Right, so this is a direct control. Right, so now this is called the Ji earth has learned its lesson. Right, so Ji earth is very giving one, very giving, very sucker, what we call. Right, so with Yi wood around, and the Yi wood will start to control the Ji earth. So the Ji earth right now is less sucker. So it's the wisdom thingy, right? So which means that the Ji earth has been conned by people enough already. This Ji earth is smarter with experience. Right, so the fella got a little bit more thick, got more lesson. Is it good or bad? I don't know. Right, so again, don't know. It depends on circumstance. So again, this one only give you a situation to think of. Right, so then you got your Kui water and also think fire. So this is like using water to put out fire and rousing the fire with water. Right, so now like this one, the direct one I can tell you, right? So if there's a person who's very angry, you start crying. Right, temperature go out, right? People start angry, you start crying. Right, so that's why when you see that the mom and dad start to fight, there's fire, there's thing fire, then the kids start to cry, and then the fighting stop. Right, you can see, right? So this is basically the circumstance that you are in. Right, so you take a look at it. This is the circumstance that you are basically in. Right, cool. Right, so you can see these are all the different clashes that is basically happening. Right, so then there is this interesting thing that we discussed the other day, which is called combine. So now you can see clash is one element clashing with another. So you can see that Geng clash with Jia. But when Geng meet with Yi Wood, it's called a combine. How come? Right? It is still metal and wood if you don't realize, right? So when we're talking about combine that time, right? If you don't realize, right? So the Geng and Yi is called a combine, but the Geng and Jia is called a clash. How come it is the same nature? Nature is the same, it's a metal and wood interactive nature, right? But one is called clash, one is called combine, right? And of course, if you use the general definition, say, oh, clash is bad, combine is good, but both of them are metal and earth, metal and wood. How come? Right? But think about it. Yi is a damsel in distress. You can call that. Right, so now if you take a look at the entire thing right now, so now if you put in sizes, if you start to put in sizes, so the yang usually is bigger size, the yin is usually smaller size. Then you start to see that, oh, there's a big size and the small size there. Right, so Geng come in, right? So Geng come in is just one size. So if you take a look at it, clash is basically two energy that has the same size. So when two energy that has the same size, they come together, and one energy trying to take over the other energy, you causes resistance. The other energy will fight it back. Right, the other energy. So it's two equal size army meet up with each other. So when two equal size army meet up with each other, right? So one army say that I want to take over you, whatever it is. That's basically what clash is. Clash is basically a situation whereby it's required for you to make changes. Right? So if you are required to make changes, there are going to be resistance. Right? If you're strong enough, then there is a resistance. Right? You think you're great, right? So when it's of different polarity, it's a big army versus a small army. So when a big army versus a small army, right? The small army got no choice but to hit to the taken over. Right? So it's a combine. So what happens is that it's like you are enslaving the army, you are causing the army to come in. From the other way around is that the smaller army is seeking refuge with the bigger army. I know that I'm small. Somebody might come and kill me off, right? So some small, I might as well join forces with the bigger army. So it's called combine. I can see, So combine is actually a situation of obedience. Combine is a situation of obedience. So combine only happen when one party is, you can call weaker or unable to stand on its own, meeting up with another party that's way much more stronger. So combine is a way of survival. So now, right now, you see combine is good or bad? I don't know which party you are in. You are the party that's being combined, or you are the party that is combining. Right? For the bigger army who's combining the smaller army, you get to increase your army size, which is good, and you don't have to fight and cause death to your own army, which is also good. Right? Yeah, it's fastest way for you to increase your army size is to combine with other people, take over other people. Right? Or else you have to make baby on your own. To make your number bigger, there's only two ways only. Either you make your baby on your own, or you, right? So like for Singapore case is that you want to increase the population of Singapore. There's only two ways to do it. One is that your citizen make baby, which is what their citizen is not doing right now. Number two, immigrant. No, that's it. Immigrant is a combine. Right? Immigration is basically a combined tactic. Right? Take in other people. Right? And then the local complain, how come all my job is given to the immigrant? You make baby lah. You make enough baby, your number of baby is higher than immigrant. We will educate the baby to become part of the citizen and do the work. Right? Can see or not? So the problem right now is that they don't have enough population. So how? You have to combine lah. So same thing in military here. Don't have enough combine. Okay? Right? You can't stand on your own. You can't, do it on your own. So that's why yang fight with yang, yin fight with yin. Because yang fight with same size. When you have same size party come together, they usually try to fight with each other. No, I don't want to adopt your view. You have to adopt my view, blah, blah, blah. But when one party is seriously weaker than the other party, then one party start to shut up. So the actual thing combine and clash look like this. Same sizes, it will clash. Different sizes, it will combine. That's all on here, right? So that's why there's nothing evil about, there's nothing really good about combine, nothing really bad about, clashes. Nothing much. It's just circumstance and situation. So you just need to understand that everything that you study in Chinese metaphysics is neutral. They are neutral unless it is placed in a what we call circumstance. And then only it has some meaning. That's why you don't have a situation no meaning, right? So go and ask, oh, I got a Geng and Jia clash, is it good or bad? Hell, I don't know. I don't know what you're applying your Geng and clash is. What's the circumstance of the clash, right? Who's clashing who? Why somebody is clashing somebody? What is the possible scenario? So in reading, you are trying to extend the possible scenario, right? So like when I do the live reading for Chiman, you notice that it's actually just expanding the scenario for decision making. BaZi reading also is the same thing. I'm just expanding the scenario for possible decision making. Feng Shui also is the same. Right, the basis of the work is the same. It's just really how you apply it. So the problem with a lot of people is that you're too fixated with good or bad. Is this good? Is this bad? Is this right? Is this wrong? No such thing. In Chinese metaphysics, yin yang happen at the same time. Right? It happens, it switches, it moves around. It's basically a spherical thing that is going already. Cool. Right. So this is your clash. Right, so hopefully you guys can use this information for your own self, right? So now this one explain most of the fundamental essential thing that you need to know about the element, right? So what is the individual element and how does the individual element interact with the rest of the element? So through this particular foundational knowledge, when you transport these things to other places where you are applying it, then you start to understand, oh, this is basically what is happening. And then only you can come up with a quality answer. So that's why the quality answer comes from a quality question. And so as we go by, I will tell you how to structure some quality sentences, some quality question, some quality manifestation. And so once you learn that, then it's easier for you to maneuver all this kind of stuff. All right, so now share this out with the rest of the community, the people, right? So we are YouTube is 1,000 people strong right now, right? So please help continue to share, right? So look for those people, right? Can teach us hot star in Chiman later. You want to keep HS is what hot star. But anyway, right, so that's it for today, right? So see you guys again when I see you guys again, right? So tomorrow we'll talk about something. Tomorrow we'll do another live reading, right? So got an unsuspecting friend who have sent me a message again, right? So all these unsuspecting friends, I'm making you into content. Yeah. Okay. See you guys, right? Bye.